All right. It's a couple minutes after. We'll go ahead and get started. I want to take a second and welcome everyone. My name is Audrey Lonsway. I'm currently the Vice President for the National Upholstery Association and the Chair of the Membership Committee. And I'd like to welcome you to our first webinar with the National Upholstery Association. These webinars will be offered the second Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And we've got a variety of topics scheduled so far for the next few months. Today, we're going to focus on just the board of directors and have some time for some questions and answers. We're hoping this will be interactive, so if you have questions, please put them in the chat or in the question and answer section. Kim Shagnon will be monitoring the question and answer area. So if you have a question, just state your name, and if you're a member of the National Upholstery Association, that'd be great to know as well, along with your question. We're gonna go ahead and each of the board of directors are going to introduce themselves and just give everybody a little bit of information about each other. So let's start with Rachel. Rachel Fletcher is the president of the National Upholstery Association. Rachel?
Hello, everyone. I just want to welcome you here. I'm super excited to see everyone here. My name is Rachel Fletcher. I am out of Tennessee, out of Knoxville, Tennessee. My business is Knox Upholstery because I'm not so creative with my business name. I have been in business for about 9 years, but I've been upholstering a little bit longer than that. I deal mostly with residential clients and some commercial. I am the president of the National Upholstery Association. I am also the chair of the PR team. And as far as like the National Upholstery Association, I am really looking forward to seeing how we grow, how we evolve. And as a personal mission, I am really wanting the NUA to validate home upholstery businesses.
Great, thanks, Rachel. I should probably go ahead and give my little introduction. I already said that I'm the VP of the NUA. I'm out of Virginia. My business is Sewing Den LLC, and I've been in business for 6 years. I provide both upholstery and workroom services. And one thing that I'm excited about with the NUA is looking forward to having the members really discuss, what they want to see. I mean, we've been working as a board and founding members for a long time, so I'm excited to get the membership involved in volunteering and in giving their ideas and suggestions as well. Next up will be Elizabeth, our treasurer.
Hi, Elizabeth DeCrescenzo, treasurer of the NUA. I own a very small upholstery business called Nailed It Upholstery out of Mesa, Arizona. Probably been upholstering professionally maybe 2 years, 3 years, kind of just playing along in it for about 5 or 6 now, actually. And thanks to Cynthia, she kind of got my upholstery bug. She bit deep and it bit hard. So really excited to be part of the NUA. I was one of the early joiners when we got together as a group and tried to talk about just where we see our industry going. I'm also on the symposium committee for the NUA that we're having this fall in combination with the CWC 19 workshop. Yeah, and like Audrey, I'm really excited to kind of open this up to our membership now and see what the memberships want from us and where to take us, and would love to have you guys join and help us. So welcome everyone.
Great, thank you, Elizabeth. Next up will be Cynthia Laskacek.
Hi, as Audrey said, my name is Cynthia Bliskacek, and I am with the Funky Little Chair in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I have been upholstering professionally since about 2001, and before that, I grew up in my mom's home-based business. About 3 years ago, I moved into my own space to focus primarily and exclusively on education, moving towards the challenges of professional training. So I'm on the membership committee for the NUA, and I'm really excited to start cultivating a village where we can work together on solutions for cultivating and supporting our next generation of professionals, because I really think there is a lot of potential, but obviously not without challenges, as our landscape has changed drastically in the last several decades. So I'm excited to be part of a team working on that.
Great. Thank you, Cynthia. Next up will be Kimberly Shagnon.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Kimberly Shagnon. My business is Kim's Upholstery, a very creative name, just as Rachel has for hers too. I have been in business since 1996 professionally, and started a little bit messing around with upholstery prior to that. My business of doing work for clients kind of fell into my lap, as I think a lot of people have happened to them when you start out as a hobbyist. But over the last 10 years, we have turned our business into an educational business, and we are currently offering online classes as well as hands-on classes, and do all teaching at this point, and don't do any more retail work in our business. I'm really excited to be a part of the National Upholstery Association, and I really look forward to finding out what the membership wants from us as an organization, and how we can all work together to get us in the direction that everybody wants to go, whether it be education, networking with others, or getting your name out there to the public as well. I'm the chair of the Events and Networking Committee, and I'm also on the membership committee.
Great. Thanks, Kim. Next will be Michelle Minner.
Okay. Hi, I'm Michelle Minner. My business is Blue Roof Cabin. I do furniture reupholstery, and I've been doing that for about 8 years. And I started by blogging and just doing little DIY projects, and I tried upholstery, and I just fell in love with it. I got the bug. So I am on the development committee, the chair of the development committee, and we basically were reaching out to vendor members and just trying to find ways to serve them and to help them serve our members. So it's been really exciting finding out how enthusiastic they've been. So that's been really fun. So I'm just looking forward to with this association. Just having a community. It took me a long time to find my people, my tribe, and when you find people that love what you do and want to help you, it just changes you. It just changes your business. It really helps. So that's what I'm really excited about happening with this.
That's great, Michelle. Thanks so much. Louise will be next.
Couldn't find my unmute button.
There we go.
Hello, everybody. My name's Louise Cornick, and I'm in California. My business is Upholstery Education. I've been upholstering for about 7 years now, but last year I started Upholstery Education, which offers hands-on professional training for both professionals and hobbyists alike in modern and traditional techniques. I am the chair of the CWC Symposium Committee. I also sit on the Finance Committee and the Events and Networking Committee. And if you get any emails from the NUA, they'll be coming from me. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the NUA can take education so that we can fulfill the employment situation that we have in the industry. It's such a common thread that people are looking for people with experience, but how do those people get experience if they can't get access to education or training? So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what we can do in that strain of education.
That's great, Louise. Thanks so much. The newest member of our board of directors is Kim Newell, and you'll be going next.
Hi and welcome. I'm Kim Newell and I'm in Indiana. In 1999, I started my business from my garage, Kim's Upholstery and Custom Slipcovers. I've moved to a rented space since with regular open hours, and I've probably attempted just about every kind of home furnishing. I've had employees, I've worked alone. Right now it's my boyfriend Jerry and I as co-workers here. We do mostly residential, some commercial, some slipcovers. And I have to tell you, I've been waiting since day one for an NUA to form. And I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to the trade resources, including training, education, networking, support, possibly a list of best practices that we can all agree to aspire to, all included in one organization. So I'm really excited.
That's great. Thanks, Kim. Well, so we got a chance to learn a little bit about our current board of directors. And now we're going to take a few minutes. We have a few questions that have already come in, and Kim Chagnon is going to help us manage some of those questions. Do you have any questions come in through the Q&A yet? Oh, you're muted.
Yes, we do have some questions. Actually, people are putting them in the chat. If you could put them in the Q&A, or if you do put them in the chat, start it with the word question so that I know, because it's going quickly in there and it's going to be hard to keep up and find them all. So the one that I see in the chat at the moment is from Linda Miller, and she says, please clarify more on the role of the development committee. What is the education offering vision for members?
Alrighty, so it's kind of like two questions. The development committee. Let's see, Michelle, that's you, yes?
The development committee is reaching out to vendor members, our industry partners, and trying to find ways that they can support the industry. And so it's a little different than education. So development committee would be more for developing relationships with industry partners.
Okay.
And then the education committee, someone else can grab that, but that's something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to field that question for education offerings. Currently, we're offering the webinars for an education offering, and the forums section of the website has an area where people can share questions and information and that sort of thing. We have some members that are joining that are retired, which is fantastic, and hopefully they can also put in some good pointers for folks as it comes through the forums. The membership committee is also seeking ideas for other ways that we can help educate. It's kind of a twofold question because we're looking to help educate our members as well as educate the public. So maybe Rachel with the PR committee would be willing to talk a little bit about how we're looking for educating the public.
That's a really great question. So I think part of educating the public is getting the information out there that upholstery is a viable, thing for their home and for their businesses. And so a lot of that's going to come through social media, I think, Instagram and Facebook, and also our website, since we have a directory, a map. People can go there and look for other upholsterers in their area to do the upholstery work. So I think that's just the beginning of it. We have committees formed because we're still coming up with ideas, and we're looking for volunteers to help with those ideas.
In addition to what you just spoke about, Freddie has a question on, I would hope to see you develop an education lobby, if you would, to educate the public about why they should buy good furniture or old furniture and redo it.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion and question all in one.
Yeah, I don't know how how to form a lobby. That's not something I've thought about, honestly.
I mean, I would kind of think that in the realm of educating the public that our blog would be useful for that, and members may have the opportunity to send us information that they would like to see on the blog, and maybe they would like to be a guest blogger for us if they have something pertinent. So that would be one way to help get the public education available. Okay, the next question is, what are your 5-year plans for the organization and the upholstery industry as a whole? Let's give this one to Cynthia.
Right. have the box. I have.
You muted yourself.
Sorry. So that's such a broad question, but I'd love to take a stab at it. And I think 5 years at this point is so far out for a brand spanking new association that it's speculation at best. But I certainly am excited to see where the next 5 years go. And I hope that as an association, we can really start to cultivate some better strategies. I don't want to say better, but some new and smart strategies for both education and employment. And one thing that is very exciting to me as an educator on this board is that I'm one of 3 educator members. I think one thing I know we've figured out, and I imagine Kim and Louise have as well, is as we're working on providing some of the education that has been missing to our community, it's very challenging to replace what we used to have, which was very long degree programs and the industry support to provide apprenticeships and employment. And that what we do in a classroom is just a small piece of what an aspiring professional or an existing professional really needs to thrive. So my 5-year vision, what I see is us really putting our heads together on, okay, well, the work is there, the interested people are there. If you've sat around a table with a group of professionals in the last year, there are some fantastic people currently working and coming into the field. So how do we start to put these pieces together? How do we develop strategies that make sense in the modern world for training, for employment, so that businesses can find the people they need or cultivate the people they need or bring in who's actually available without breaking their business? I know that's really a challenge for shops that are trying to hire, right? That it takes a long time to get good enough and fast enough. There's just no really skirting that experience curve. But then how do we start to connect the dots between the people coming in, the people going out, the work that is there? And I think part of that is on the educators, part of that is on our businesses, part of it is on our professionals to start to work together. And I'm happy to be in a part of the country where we have some communication going on between education, employment, people in, people out, so we can study, okay, here's how we tried to make those pieces fit together, and here's how you can use what Kim has available online, and here's how you can use what Cynthia has available, and here's how you can use what's out in California with upholstery education, and here's how you can use the new NUA to really a la carte all the things that you need to be the wonderful, robust, healthy, happy business that you aspire to be.
Thank you. One thing I would like to add, I'm sorry, go ahead, Audrey. Did you want to add something?
No, when you're done.
Part of the question was the upholstery industry as a whole for the 5-year plan. And one thing that I would like to see is us really, and someone had mentioned it earlier in the questions, is educating the public that, the throwaway furniture is not what you want to be buying. You want to be restoring your family heirlooms or your grandmother's pieces or pieces that you can get at auctions. So kind of educating the public so that the upholsterers will definitely still have a viable source of work for them in the future years. Let's see, the next one. Are you seeking formal relationships with other nonprofits and related industries? Audrey.
Sure, I'm happy to answer that question. Yes, is the easy answer. We're looking to form partnerships with, vendor industry partners as well as other trade associations. We just talked about that in our last board meeting, which we are having board meetings often this first year of existence. So, so that we can kind of talk about things as they come up. So meeting a little more often than perhaps other trade associations meet, but in those minutes, I guess now is a good time to put a plug in that those minutes are published on our website for folks to see, so they can see what we're thinking and talking about. And so yeah, that was just talked about at the last meeting, and we're trying to decide on the best way to move forward with it. And think it's going to get finalized at the next board meeting. So hopefully we'll have information that can come out about that pretty soon. Our next board meeting is scheduled for not this Friday, but the following Friday.
So the next question we have is from Kirk. He says, any thoughts on an NUA professional designation for the future?
Is that, are we, I mean, I don't quite know what that question, designation, does he mean sort of like certification, that type of, is that where perhaps Patrick was going with that?
Kirk.
With that question?
So Kirk, if you want to add in the chat in regards to what you're referring to, we'll circle back to that. He says yes. He answered very quickly.
Well, I know that it has been a discussion, certainly with the education members, but certification is sort of exceedingly difficult when you have so many state legislations and they're all very different. I certainly think that we need to be careful that we don't try to run before we can walk. And I know this has already been mentioned that perhaps starting off with sort of having some industry standards first would be a more appropriate way of making sure that, you know, we are all keeping our work techniques to the best possible standards. And then as we become more established and we have more members, then, you know, further down the line, that's definitely a long-term thing, if that's what the members want. And again, circling back to what Kimberly said, this is, you know, the members association. It's not a board of directors dictating what should or shouldn't happen. This is a member association. So if the members, you know, ask that, yes, this is something that we want, then as a board, we have to try and work at it to actually offer that. But I think certainly that would be something that would be in a long-term plan if it was required. But I think in the short term, we'll be looking to try and make sure that we can have some type of best practice standards to start.
I think Kim Newell mentioned that when she spoke. Would you like to add anything to that, Kim?
Only that I agree full-heartedly. As far as the membership goes, I see a lot of variation in the quality of work, especially in this area. You know, there's an upholsterer down the road that uses glue instead of staples. If we can have the standards behind our seal, our membership, I think that would be awesome.
So I hope that answered your question enough, Kirk. Let's see here. Next question is, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the current board? I would say one weakness we have is we're all women. We need some men involved. Go ahead, Audrey. It looked like you were going to say something.
Yeah, that's a good one. I love diversity. We need to, and that's actually something that we had been talking about with representation from all different kinds of upholstery specialties, including marine and auto. So, so yeah, we'd like to see, you know, some diversity as well in our in the specialties. I think one of our additional strengths is that we're determined. I mean, we have somehow managed to start a new trade association, which is no small undertaking. And, you know, there were additional people that have helped with this process along the way that are not pictured here with the board of directors, with the founding members, and with people that have given their advice and their everything along the way. So, so we're determined to make this something that's useful for the public and for our membership. I had something planned for what our weakness is. I had it in my head just a minute ago. I'm so sorry. I think it's a matter of not trying to, I like what Louise said, don't try to run before you can walk, but we have to try to stay focused, and we have to make sure that we are not trying to do everything all at the same time, all at once. We've been open for membership in 8 days. And so we want to, make sure that we are focusing on our short-term goals, and also leaving space for suggestion for long-term goals. So that'll be one of those that we're working towards.
And if I can add on to that, as far as strengths go, we are all upholsterers. We are all in this business. And so what we want to get out of this association, I'm pretty sure you want to get out of this association. We're all headed down the same road together. And as far as the weakness goes, I think we are all also full-time employed. Like we all are, I can't talk, we are all running our own businesses. And the weakness is that we just don't have the time to do everything we want, which is why we need volunteers. So we need our members to, help us with your ideas and your thoughts about what they want to see out of the NUA.
Great. I would say one other strength that we all have is we are all very passionate about this industry, whether it be working with retail clients, working as educators, and we're all interested in networking as well. So networking with all of you out there is a big plus for all of us that we want to do. We really want to hear your thoughts.
And if I could, for just a second, we are at 1:30, and I'm going to take just a moment for anybody that is new on the webinar. If you have a question, there's a Q&A area at the bottom of your screen where you can ask questions. There's a chat area where you can also post comments to the panelists and to attendees if you'd like, so you can choose which category. If you have a question that you're trying to post in chat, then make sure to list question first. Put your name. If you're a member of the NUA, that would be great to know if we're speaking with one of the new members of the NUA. I also know that Rachel, as president of the NUA, had a little brief introduction, just a little something to say as well. So we'll take a moment and let her say that, and then we'll get back to the questions.
Way to put me on the spot there, Audrey.
Yeah, happy to do so.
Yay. So I want to welcome anyone that came along here a little bit late, but the mission of the NUA is, the formal mission is working together to support and advance the field of professional upholstery. But as I like to say, we are by upholsterers for upholsterers. That's what we all are. We're all upholsterers. I was saying earlier that our mission, our goals is the same as everyone who's part of this membership. But we were founded by 8 upholsterers. We have 10 upholsterers on our board, and we're looking for more marine and more automotive upholsterers to get involved, because we're all pretty much furniture upholstery related. But we're hoping to reach out to those industries and get them more involved.
So we have a few other questions popping up here. Let's see. Patty is asking, is there a minimum number of hours and experience to become a certified upholsterer, and how do I get that?
I mean, I'll jump in here if you want, and Cynthia might want to jump in here as well. I mean, at the moment, of course, we don't have a certification. We can only go on what has gone before, and the number of hours is not necessarily the defining factor as such. But I know certainly if you look at some of the certifications which are overseas, something like the AMUSF, which is the Association of Master Upholsterers and Soft Furnishers in the United Kingdom, they're looking at a minimum of 260 hours per level, so 260 hours for first year, second year, and third year. I'm just going to defer to Cynthia because I do actually have a barking dog in the back, so I don't know whether you can hear that, but I'm going to defer to Cynthia and let Cynthia just tell you.
Well, I always think it's fun to compare notes between, like, you know, it does vary by region and by country and by, you know, specialty. But when Minnesota did have a trade program, it was 2,000 hours plus, I believe, a year-long apprenticeship to get a journeyman's card was sort of the bench. If you were to go into just a shop and get that journeyman's card, then I believe it was 6,000 hours, which I think works out to 3 years. 3 years, and you're supposed to be with one shop doing all the skills, which I think illustrates why it's so tremendously difficult to sustain local professional education. It's just pretty impossible to draw a circle around enough people in one area who are on that same timeline together for that long, and the shops to support them. So at present, you certainly really can't get that in the US, though if it gives you, I think, an indication of what your timeline perhaps is, to be patient with yourself and know that, you know, you don't acquire all the skills overnight. It is, I think upholstery is a life's learning journey. But the students we've had locally who are successful are a la carting their butts off. I mean, they are learning online where they can, they're learning hands-on where they can, they are doing stuff in their own shop space because they're just banking hours through trial and error. If they can cultivate opportunities to work through shops part-time, as the grunt, as a contractor, I think the modern upholsterer is going to have to be brilliant about taking that 6,000 hour target and pulling it together from any opportunities and resources that you can get your hands on. And hopefully the NUA will be one more platform that can help you connect with the hours, the opportunities, the training, the skills, the people that you need to hit that benchmark in the absence of formal degree programs.
Thanks, Cynthia. Okay, so we have Anna is asking, she says, I'm super excited to share with my clients about the NUA. What is the best way to explain to my clients how my membership in the NUA will indirectly or directly benefit them? I don't mind starting with that one. I think indirectly it will benefit your clients because you'll have access to vendors that maybe you've never heard about and be able to find the best products available for you to use in your business once we get our industry partner list growing. You'll also have access to a community forum where if you're in a jam or you can't find a product or you need help on something, you've got a community to help you get the answers to the questions you have. And the education, you know, we'll have the education there through the members portal. There will be conversations about education as well as an educational calendar, so you'll have more access to education as well. Anybody else want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to add one of the things that we were talking about recently, and we haven't solidified yet, but you know, this conversation around local education, a la carte education. It's a burden for all parties involved, and I think the NUA recognizes that, and we're working hard to see what other options are, and you will benefit directly, your clients will benefit directly from having sort of these educational ideas and standards, as well as, you know, the best practices that we've been talking about on this phone call. I mean, if you just pull all that together, you yourself become more confident in your skills as an upholsterer. You have a resource of people that are there to help support you, build you up, educate you, mentor you. You have access to the vendors like Kim suggested. I think you just become an all-around more savvy upholsterer and business person. And with that, you can do better work for your client, anticipate your client needs, educate your client more articulately around why to upholster, when not to upholster, etc.
Okay, the next question is from Julie. I'm 55, just took an upholstery class. Am I too old to start this? Definitely not. Anybody want to jump in on this one? I think there's 3 of us over that 50 mark in here.
I'm not I'm close to 50, and I'm trying to launch this as a second career. And it certainly has been challenging, just from the standpoint of scaling my upholstery business at a pace that I'm comfortable with, that matches my skill sets, because I don't want to overcommit and underdeliver. I don't want to be output shoddy work. So balancing that, there's definitely enough work out there. It's just your own personal, when do I tip the scale? So, I don't think you're too old at all to start it. I'm giving it a go in my mid 40s, and it's not going to lie, it's kind of scary sometimes, but it's more scary of there's too much work. When and how do I say no and do it in a way that is still providing a service to the client, so it's not uncomfortable for anyone.
I mean, upholstery is definitely a very physical work, but I don't think you're too old to get started. And like Elizabeth said, it's your business and you need to run it the way you want to run it. Clients will try to dictate to you things to do and try to push you in your schedule, and don't let them. If you set things at your pace, take on jobs you want to take on, don't feel like you have to take on every job. So definitely I would say you can start it at 55. Let's see, what does it mean to have vendors involved in the NUA? And that's from Jean. Michelle, you want to jump in on this one?
No, well, let's see here. What I've seen so far from the vendors that I've talked to, it's been really encouraging that they are wanting to support us in any way that they can to have a healthy and vibrant community. And I know a lot of people are like, what extra discounts can they give us? And we're working on that, but that's not the only thing that they can offer. Just finding the ones that have the products that you need, that have the great websites, that have that care about education, all of that just makes a stronger community as a whole. So that's what the development committee is trying to create, is that kind of relationship. And they can definitely help with education. A lot of them can.
Thank you, Michelle.
Can I add to that, Kim?
Yep.
I think one of the things that having the vendors involved in is it gives us a different perspective, which gets back to that diversity question, right? We want this we want this NUA to support and truly uplift and further this industry. So I think having both the upholsterer's perspective, the vendor's perspective, is very critical, and just developing those relationships. There are some definite opportunities there where they can help further along the education lines, etc. But also it's they help us put on the events, right? Just to be frank about it, that they are a significant help in us being able to do things like webinars and the symposium and other opportunities along those lines, as well as discussions around the education, because you've got to look at it from their perspective. This is a potential customer for them in the future as we develop up our student or our young professionals. So it's really kind of bringing the whole concept full circle again. How do we really support the entire industry?
Thank you.
Also, Kim,
Yes.
if I could, I think it's also helpful, for vendors to have communication directly with upholstery shops, but also for upholstery shops kind of as a whole to have a way to show vendors what they need as well. I know we had some discussions when we were first forming with some potential industry partners, and one gentleman had said, like, wow, this is really great information to know. Like, I forget what exactly we were talking about, but he was just like, this is good. It's like I'm getting feedback, and so that I can provide better services to my customer base. So I think it helps both ways also.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Forming relationships with your vendors is very, very important in this business, because they are in business with you if you pick the right vendors. And they will support your business the whole time you're in business. And if you have somebody you order from on a regular basis, when you're in a jam, they're going to be right there to help you and help back you on that. So let's see, Bruce says, do you think it is necessary for an upholstery business to offer fabrics? And I will start off answering this, but I'd like Kim Newell to answer next because she's also been in business for quite some time. It's not necessary, but I think it is a fabulous idea. You have control of the product you're putting on a piece of furniture. Now, I know I used to do a lot of customers' own material when I first started in business, and you never knew what they were going to bring in the door. So it gives you that control, and you know, when you're in the beginning phases of upholstery, and if you make a mistake and you have to order more, you don't have to go back to the client and ask them to you know, get some more fabric for you that may be out of stock at that point. So it's good to cover you in that way if you're just beginning in your upholstery business. And it is also another profit margin for you. You can make a good amount of money selling fabrics to your client, so it is an add-on income. Kim, would you like to add to?
Yes, when you're taking on a project, in my opinion, you want as much control as possible. And I've worked with designers, for example, that will supply really inappropriate fabric for a job, even though it's plenty of fabric and, you know, we can work with it. So that's one thing. The other thing is the profit margin. You can build that into your fee, you know, your hourly wage. And although I do know a lot of people that don't offer fabric and they get along just fine, you know, they're more of a, well, for one thing, they don't pay taxes on the retail sale. They just charge labor, which in Indiana is not taxable at this point. So it's probably a personal choice, but I would strongly suggest you do so.
Anybody else have anything they want to add to that?
I was just going to say, it's really a service to my customers because I'm familiar with my fabrics. I have trusted vendors. It's going to be good quality, and they don't have to stress about finding fabric. I can help them. Here you go. Here's some options. So it's really, I think it's a service above everything else. And
I'd like to add one comment on the sales tax on that. In Massachusetts, we do have to charge tax on labor because it's considered under manufacturing. So that's something you would want to check in your state on that aspect. Okay, the next question is from Nancy. Not so much a question, but an idea, and I'd love to help. I think October as National Upholstery Month would be a perfect opportunity to educate the public on quality furniture and upholstery.
Hear, hear, Nancy.
So maybe a blog post is in order for October. Okay, let's see. Linda says, as a benefit to a member, will we have capability to have a digital image of the NUA logo? Rachel.
Yes, it is finally up there. It took me a couple of days, but if you go to the member directory, it's at the, or no, member
resources.
Thank you, Audrey. Member resources, it's in the bottom of the page. You can go and you can get a high resolution image of the NUA logo and you can use it.
Yeah, so Rachel and Audrey are our website gurus here. They've been putting all this website stuff together for you guys, which has taken hours. Let's see, Freddie says, I think it also allows our vendors to know what products we want. It's a symbolic relationship or symbiotic relationship. Exactly. Let's see here. I think I have one more question. And this one I'm going to direct towards Elizabeth. What sort of disruptive elements do you anticipate regarding the upholstery industry, and what are your plans to address these? Not you personally, but.
Yeah, me personally. I'm going to solve world hunger, and I'm going to look amazing while doing it. And I'll finish it off with a confetti cannon. You know, I think we already have our disruptive element. I think the disruption is really kind of the catalyst that started the framing of the NUA. You know, as Cynthia so articulated, it's a lot. You can't get a circle big enough, local enough, with enough people at the same point in their journey to really continue the historical model of some sort of formal educational program followed by an apprenticeship. You know, I think that has, with that going by the wayside, and then the perceived cry, the perceived battle cry of, oh, it's a dying industry. And then with the resurgence of the makers market and the makers space, I think that's our disruption. And we really, as a group, need to figure out how to come together and pivot from this, pivot from the old confines and structures of the education sort of foundation that we've had in upholstery, and how to forge our new path that is both sustainable, not both, but is sustainable for all parties, the student, the young professional, the established professional, the retiree, the vendors. Again, that whole arena that we're trying to engage in this National Upholstery Association. I think that's really the disruption. The disruption has been the change of our market space. And some might say it's a little late. Some might say we're right on target. I'm going to say we're going to figure it out. And this group has proven itself that we can get stuff done. It is alarmingly hard work, an alarming number of hours that it took to get this NUA launched. And we did it in, I want to say, Audrey, you're always better at the timelines than I am. Yeah, 7-8 months. Yeah, 8 months, you guys. We went from, we think we need an association, to launching. And there was a blog post about the hard work that we've done. And there was a kind of just an aside comment in there about, I wonder how many hours, it actually took. And as a joke, the board tried to articulate the hours. And I'm going to tell you, I think all of us were so buried under board work that we just kind of took a swing at our numbers. And I know I told my husband how many I wrote down. He looked at me, he's like, are you kidding? You need to triple that. So, we've all put our lives on hold to get this launched. So we are definitely committed, engaged, and determined. But, I think we're going to give it a go, right? I think we're going to be able to figure out what this disruption looks like to us and how we move past it in a way that's positive for everyone.
Thank you. Okay, Audrey, I'm going to direct this next question to you. How do you qualify for a student membership?
All right, so student membership, they are the folks that are learning to upholster, and they are probably taking the classes in order to pursue a career in upholstery in some way. So they might want to open their own business, or they might want to work for another upholstery shop, that sort of thing. So those are the folks that are qualifying at the student level. You can be a member at the student level for up to 2 years, and then we do ask if you form your own business in that amount of time, then to switch over to a professional membership.
Thank you. That is all the questions we have out there, unless somebody else has got some coming in. I don't see any in the chat unless I've missed one. If somebody sees one that I've missed, let me know.
I did see one from Julie Hansen asking about OSHA. And does OSHA play a part in this business?
Everybody muted themselves. Did you notice that? It's like mute, 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 mute. I would say they probably would if somebody got hurt working for you. Anybody have anything to add to that?
I do.
Okay.
I don't think that OSHA has anything to do with my shop. I will say the insurance that I have on this shop, they dictate a lot of what goes on in here. So I don't know. I think it would vary from state to state.
I think you're right. So that is the end of the questions.
Okay, thanks, Kim. We'll allow a couple minutes if there's anybody else that has any anything that they think of off the top of their heads. I'm going to take a moment to let folks know that if you are not currently a member for the NUA, then membership is open and that's available on our website. For those that are members, the future webinars will be available for you. August 13th, we have one of our industry partners will be talking about foam selection and things to, that's going to be Fabric Supply Incorporated, FSI. They're going to be discussing how to make the best choices with foam. In September, our webinar is going to be on website basics. So that's going to be how will a website help your business, or how can you help have your current website work for your business better. October 8th, we are going to have a tutorial on French mattress cushions, which is an exciting, it's really been very popular these days, so that'll be very exciting. Do we have any other questions, and Kim, that have come in?
Nope. Julie made a comment that her instructor had mentioned the OSHA, and he is in business in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I would say for any business, you always have to check OSHA standards and follow them. And personally, I'm not sure that there's like specific ones in Virginia that we need to look at. I'm in Virginia also, but there are a list of regulations that we look towards to make sure that we're in alignment with it. So yeah. All right. Well, we have, as we mentioned, we have a great desire for our members to get involved, and the membership committee will be sending out some polls and surveys to our membership in the upcoming months to get an idea of what people are hoping the NUA can help with, as well as you know, if you would like to get involved with the NUA and would like to volunteer, you can send an email to our info@nationalupholsteryassociation.org. And Louise has been helping answer those emails, so she'll get back to you with the different committees that are in existence and ways that you can help. Anybody else on our panelists today have anything they'd like to say before we leave? I got to tell everybody, we are a chatty group. It's just because we're muted. We're trying to not talk over each other, I'm sure.
I would
Rachel?
just like to say, oh,
Yeah,
go ahead, Rachel.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you everybody for joining us, but don't forget this is your association. Mm-hmm. It's really important that you understand that it's your association and you direct the direction. So please speak up. You know, when you do get these, questions and things sent out from membership, please, if please take the time to answer them, or send us emails if you think of anything. Then send us an email and we will do our best to come back with an answer. But yeah, this is an association for members by members. So get involved.
Ditto.
All right. Well, great. So I don't think we have any other questions, and we had a lively chat area on the side that was so great. This has been recorded and will be available on the membership resources page on our website in the upcoming months. And thanks everybody today for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again the second Tuesday of the month. So next month is August 13th. And for our next webinar with the National Upholstery Association. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
Ready.